They want dead Jews. It's never existed. Don't bother. 5 times we offered them a state. 5 times occupation. Who are we occupying? This global narrative that is being pumped on all mainstream media outlets that isn't a white lie. It's just blatant fabrication of history. Like, I'm talking like literally zero truth to it. And we'll start with the fact that there has never been, and this has become cliche already, but it's really important that people understand this because people talk about occupation. Who are we occupying? There has never been, I'm going to say this slowly, there has never been an Arab Palestinian state in the history of mankind. And if whoever's listening, debates that, then please, by all means, tell me, when was the Arab Palestinian state established? Who was the prime minister or president? What was the language? What was the currency? What was the culture? What was the food? It's never existed. Don't bother. And the fact that the world, keeps pumping this lie that we occupied the Palestinian state, it's just blatant 100% fabrication of history. In 1948, the UN gave Israel and the Arabs, and I'm saying Arabs, not Palestinians, because the word Palestinian was invented by a terrorist, Yasser Arafat, in 1964. And if you look at the charter of the PLO, their existence in this world is so that there is no Israel. They don't want a state, okay? In 1947, the UN gave Israel and the Arabs a state. Israel graciously accepted, and we were home. What did the Arabs do? Not only did they reject the offer, but they attacked. Along with many of our neighbors, they brought all the Arab nations and they attacked. You know what happened next? They lost. Game over. But the world, for some reason, is so obsessed with this lie. I mean, there has never been, an occupation where you have refugees for this long, ever. Like, there are refugees in the world. We're talking 73 years. Like, move on already. The whole thing. I don't even know where to start. It's all one big lie, and it's pathetic because anyone who's a half a brain sees what's going on here. It's the new, the Jews control the media. It's the new Jews killed Jesus. It's the new Jews didn't accept. It's every generation. There's a new reason to hate the Jews. And today it's Zionism. And everyone that says anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism, again, stop. You're fooling yourself. Just say it. You're an anti-Semite, and that's okay. Fine. There are anti-Semites in the world, but to say that anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism, that's literally like saying anti-Jesus is not anti-Christian. Zionism, 95% of the Jews in the world are Zionists. Zionism, the love for Zion, as in Jerusalem, as in Israel, is in our prayers thousands of times, is mentioned in our Bible thousands of times. For the record, Jerusalem is not mentioned in the Quran once. So, I can keep going. It's all just lies to justify Jew hatred. Good old-fashioned Jew hatred. We didn't kill Jesus. We don't use Christian blood in our bread. We didn't not accept Muhammad. And we didn't occupy Palestine. Just stop with it already. You want to hate Jews? Go ahead, hate Jews. But stop making things up. It's super frustrating. Let's just rewind a little bit. Israel evacuated Gaza, literally uprooted thousands of Jewish families, friends of mine, literally. And as they say, we ethnically cleansed Gaza from Jews. There's not one Jew in Gaza. We handed it over to the Palestinians on a silver platter. What did they do? Once again, they elected Hamas, a terrorist organization, democratically, I might add. And every so often, they decide for no apparent reason, or they find some ridiculous excuse to start another round of violence. And so, all of the politicians who supported the disengagement from Gaza, you can watch the videos. They're all on YouTube. All of them said, if one rocket flies from Gaza into Israel, we're taking Gaza back. We're talking about 4,500 rockets landed on our head. Can you imagine any country in the world, any country accepting that reality? 4,500 missiles, rockets. By the way, it's not missiles. Missiles would be an upgrade. You know why? Because missiles you can aim. Rockets fall arbitrarily. There is no GPS. And so they're just landing on civilians' heads. No other country would accept that. And so we didn't accept it, and we fought back. And of course, once we retaliate, all the anti-Semites come out to play. Israel's killing children. There is not an army on planet Earth that takes the precautions that Israel takes in order to avoid or minimize civilian death. The Hamas shoots from within civilian populations in hospitals. I mean, how cynical and disturbing can you get? And what does Israel do? If there are kids or if they're in it, no matter what, we will not attack that place. In fact, Israel literally drops pamphlets. I mean, It doesn't get more absurd than this. Israel drops pamphlets saying we are about to attack here. What do the terrorists do? They run away. So we're literally losing the element of surprise in order to minimize civilian deaths. Find me another army in the world that would do that. It doesn't exist. So they decided to start another round. Israel defended itself. We, of course, retaliated. And all the anti-Semites are saying, oh, my God, it's not an even fight. Israel's so much stronger. In other words, said in other words, not enough Jews are dead for them to retaliate. If there were more Jews that were dying, then I'd understand. But since Israel's stronger, it shouldn't fight back. It's absurd. It's absurd. There's no logic. That standard would not be applied to any other nation in the world. It is the definition of a double standard. And the irony here is the same people who are pro-Palestinian, and I'm using these air quotes because they're not pro-Palestinian. Again, it's anti-Jewish. Those same people are saying, the people who give, who want to give the Palestinians a state, and those same people are saying to me, Hillel Fuld, listen, Hillel, the Palestinians are saying they want all Jews dead. They're saying from the river to the sea. They don't want Israel to exist, but don't believe them. They don't really mean it. And I'm saying, but they're saying it. Their leadership is saying it. There's not one Arab leader who says Israel has a right to exist. So if you want to give them, the Palestinians, quote unquote, so much credit and you want to give them a state, maybe it's time we believe them. They're saying it. Listen to what they're saying. They want dead Jews. 5 times we offered them a state. 5 times. And what did they do? They rejected it every single time. They don't want a state. They want dead Jews. They say it loud and clear. The world just wants to, ignore the reality on the ground and use it again as an excuse to hate more Jews. It's pathetic.